What up? This is Billy Bats with the Square Off TV. How's everybody doing? I figure while I'm sitting here while my wife's on the computer, I would do Whitey Bulger, Part 1, The Beginning. There was another gang here in South Boston called the Mullens Gang. Whitey was a lower end guy. That's what we call Broadway Station, Andrew Square, West Broadway, D Street projects, Old Harbor projects, Old Colony projects, lower end. The Mullens ran the point. And the point, they call it City Point because it's at the point of the island. South Boston, actually, it ain't an island. It's, I forget the professional term for it, but if you look at a map, if you ever look up Castle Island and Conley Terminal, where the longshoremen work, where I've worked, that's the point. Because you can't go no further. It's all ocean from there. So, the Mullens had Patney, my grandfather, his brothers, other family members, and the McLeans, McGonigal, powerhouses, ran Southie for years. And by the way, I'm not sure if this is I'm just keeping it real. My grandmother was the very first woman in Southie to rob a bank. Yes. And I'll tell that story after, or another time. But the Mullens ran the docks. And that was a ton of money because every truck comes from Conley Terminal, right by our houses. And what did they do? Hijacking. Ton of money. A lot more money than you can make down here. What people did mostly down here in the lower end was drug dealing, numbers, gambling, ran card games, shit like that. Everybody did that. But bank robbery, armored truck robbery, if you've seen the town. Actually, there's a video on the Square Off TV where a guy from Providence says that movie's about his life. It's no, the fuck it ain't, buddy. It's about the four guys from Charlestown. Four guys from Charlestown. Charlestown is across the bridge from Southie, next to Somerville, where Howie Winter and the Winter Hill Gang were. Whitey stole their... I don't know why Whitey Whitey's crew was called the Winter Hill Gang because he's from South. He wasn't he ain't from Somerville. He ain't a Winter Hill guy. But anyways, Howie Winter ran Somerville. Who cares? Anyways, nothing to brag about. So, Whitey, as a young man, got pinched for a bank robbery and had to go to Alcatraz. And while he was at Alcatraz, that's when the MK Ultra LSD acid experiments started. And I can't even imagine what went on in those rooms. The psychopaths tripping their balls off. The most dangerous men in the fucking country tripping balls in prison. So basically it was the summer of love in Alcatraz, but the extreme version. The summer of hate. Because they wanted, some creepy fuck wanted to get into the criminal's mind to see if they can alter it to make them better people, you know? Which in all reality turned Whitey Bulger into a criminal mastermind who ran the Irish mob. But we'll get to that. That's the end of the story. Towards the end. There's a lot of shit they didn't put in that movie, Black Mass. A lot of shit. And a lot of people. A war broke out between Whitey's crew and the Mullens Gang. And the Mullens Gang was wiping the motherfucking streets with Whitey's crew. Killing this guy, killing that guy, whacking this one, whacking that one. And he was losing. He had no one to turn to here. Like, the Mullens Gang was just too fucking strong. And they had a lot of members. So Whitey decided to bring Howie Winter into the fucking picture. And he was a respected guy. Howie respected Whitey because he did time in Alcatraz and shit like that. But when Whitey came home from Alcatraz, he came back a totally different person. He wasn't a petty thief no more. All that was on his mind was how to control this fucking hotbed called Southie. Or the whole fucking city. Because in the beginning, believe it or not, the mafia and the North End, the mob, Italians, that's the little Italy of Boston, the North End. Very small community, Italian community in downtown Boston, right next to Charlestown. They worked together. The Irish mob and Italians worked together in the beginning. Basically, every crew Whitey ever hung out with or did committed crimes with, he ended up, stabbing them in the back, leaving them, whatever. he wanted to be the fucking boss. He wasn't the type of man who wanted to be told what to do, obviously. You know what I mean? So, the Mullens Gang was so fucking strong at this time. Pat and E, just a bunch of fucking criminal masterminds, robbing trucks, whacking people, you know, shaking people down, businesses, everything you can think of. And all right, I'll tell this part. What ended up turning in this war? Whitey bring Howie Winter in to mediate because he wanted a truce now. Because he was losing the fucking war big time. It was like just like him or a couple other guys like getting his fucking ass kicked. Guys were getting they called South Boston the Wild West at that time. People were getting whacked left and right and Southie is very fucking, it's a small community. Everybody knew everybody. Wherever you lived, your mother sent you as a child. Oh, go grab sugar off Miss O'Connor over there. Go grab sugar off Miss O'Malley over here. Whatever, you know what I mean? That type of shit. Regular neighborhood. That's why when I went to New York, I'm like, what's the fuck's the big deal? I mean, it's like Boston, but it's bigger. And shit stays open later. That's the difference. And they have the Statue of Liberty, so the fuck what? Anyways, they McGonagall, like Pat Nee was like, you know what? Fuck it. You know, talking amongst the men. You know, we killed most of them. What, you know, let's make a truce. Like, we're going to be running the show. We won. But the other, his partner, who was the head of the Mullens, McGonagall, and other men were like, fuck that. Like, we're fucking winning. Like, the only reason why he's doing this is because he's fucking losing. And he's gonna fucking die soon. Fuck that. Fuck that truce. But you know, in the mob, there's ranks, and you take orders from people, certain men. So they decide to truce. Wave the white flag. And that's when the downfall of the Mullens happened. Because Whitey was planning the whole time to fucking kill every one of them and take over Southie. So, by the way, all of this is alleged, okay? Disclaimer, all of this is alleged. Disclaimer again, all of this is alleged. So, I'm going to call him so McGonagall's partner ended up becoming close with Whitey and ended up whacking him because they devised a plan to take over together. So he got whacked. This one got whacked. That one got whacked. The Mullens ended up losing. Long story short. The war went on for a while, too. So you got Patney and Whitey, James Whitey Bulger. No one ever called him Whitey to his face. They called him by his name, Jimmy. No one ever said, "Hey, Whitey, It was Jimmy. So at a period of time, Patney ends up going into prison for a long bid too, and so Whitey took over. Southie was his, from the lower end to the point. Took over the drug game. If you sold coke and you weren't getting it from him, you were gonna get a knock on your door from Kevin Weeks or whoever the fuck was with them. Flemmy, Cadillac Frank. Whitey never went looking for people himself. He was a boss. Like the Italians, I watch some podcasts from informants that were associates with the Gambinos and Genovese and Columbos and shit like that. And Sammy the Bulgravano, who I'm subscribed to. I'm subscribed to Jimmy Calandra too, Bath Avenue Story. You should go subscribe to him too. He got great stories. Shout out to Sammy the Bulgravano and Jimmy Calandra. Shout out to you guys. I enjoy your content. And shout out to Wise Guy TV too. We were supposed to do something because he was doing something on the Irish mob, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. But anyways, because I left him a message on YouTube. I'm like, he was doing like a thing, I don't know, like a series or something, like covering different people in the Irish mob, and I'm like, not for nothing, like you can't cover the Irish mob without covering Southie and Whitey Bulger. You just can't. And if you're gonna do that, you have to bring me in, because like I live here. They operated around the corner from my house, so like you can't tell my fucking story and fuck it all up. You know what I mean? That's like me telling stories of what happened in Long Island. I ain't from there. I never been there. But anyways, where was I at? Oh, Pat Nee goes to prison for a long time. A young, ambitious Fed who grew up in the same project right there. It's a